Australia's spring bushfire outlook has been released today and it paints an ominous picture. Large parts of the east coast are being warned to prepare for an active season. Areas that just experienced record flooding are now in the firing line as well. Authorities are warning residents to prepare now as temperatures heat up and conditions dry out. In a moment, we'll go live to the Emergency Management Minister, Murray Watt. First, let's bring in Sky News weather meteorologist Bradlyn Oakes for more on this. So, Bradlyn, it simply seems to be a case of a lot of water that created a lot of this so-called fuel and then drying out. Where has that meant the danger zones are?
That's exactly right. So we were watching as we've had substantial regrowth in a lot of areas. So some of our bigger danger zones going into the spring are going to be in areas of Queensland, New South Wales, especially in western areas. And then through the centre of the country, also watching for some very dangerous conditions. Now, when we talk about areas like New South Wales and Queensland, we have seen record-breaking flooding, moisture over the last couple of years in La Nina. As things change and we head towards an El Nino event, we're likely to see drier, warmer conditions, and then that combines with the substantial regrowth that we have been seeing. So we're seeing more grass, we're seeing more bush that is actually growing, and that leads to a higher fuel load. So that's one of the main concerns that we do have as we head into this upcoming fire season. And here was New South Wales RFS Commissioner Rob Rogers from this morning.
Unlike 2019-20 when we were in that drought, we've had significant rain, so the grassland areas, particularly in the western part of the state, are prolific. So there's more than a metre tall grass, and we've had frost and dryness that started to kill off that grass, so it's all ready to burn.
Bradlyn, the black summer bushfires, of course, still fresh in the minds of a lot of Australians, one of our worst seasons on record. So in terms of the outlook ahead of then and ahead of now, what's the comparison like?
Well, it's a little bit difficult to compare them. So slightly different areas that we're watching into this year. And as we head into this 2023 season, it does look to be slightly less of a risk than the 2019-2020 year. However, that doesn't mean that there is really less of a risk. A lot of people will need to prepare. Now, during Black Summer bushfires, a lot of areas along the coast were at highest risks, and that's where we saw heading into this season. Of course, more inland areas, more western areas are at higher danger. And we are watching for areas that didn't get hit during the 2019-2020 season as well, that just continue to regrow. So definitely different years, still a high danger this year. And here was National Council for Fire and Emergency Services CEO Rob Walsh.
This outlook isn't worse than 2019, but the messages are still very strong. Whether you're in 2019 or 2023, it's plan and prepare. Make sure that you sit down with your families and do what you can do, because fires will be in the landscape.
And as you just heard there, we need to be planning and preparing for this year because it is going to be a bad year for a lot of areas, especially, again, in our eastern states and central portions of the country.